Hello world! Today on Genergy Overground, let's delve deeply into solar plans. As I step in, we observe and discuss it comprehensively.
Well, let's talk about solar energy. Let's talk about battery modules and inverters. Let's talk about how to calculate ourselves, about knowing what energy. If you are thinking about getting a solar power plant, how much power, how many batteries would you like to know, how many panels do you need? Then if you are going to talk to the distributor, to the installer, but it is going to be good for you, I think this video will start learning something good. For starters, our plans start with the basics, the Rigel, then there's the Sirius. Well, here I leave you these types of plans where everything is included. The only thing there is to wire solar panels to the protection box and the protection box towards. This part that is the inverter, now I will show it a little better, but how much power, which plan to choose? Well, this video is going to help you. First of all, I want to tell you about our systems. Our system, everyone knows it. They know that they are very attractive and very easy because to fix you, this is the investor, that's simple. It's assembly and disassembly, but I just left a battery here. If I'm going to put more battery, you're already seeing it. I only have to attach another battery. Another battery does not need screws. It's that simple to connect from the back. See if it's simple, okay? Are you seeing this connector? Look, you realize. Well, first we have connected the cable to our inverter input, and connecting the inverter input to the battery is as simple as doing this. Okay, there I have it. That's where I'd be connected. Okay, how do I connect the other battery? You already have negative terminal to negative terminal, positive terminal to positive terminal, because I have been stacking batteries since Genergy. The plans have been configured with, here we see the switch, these small switches are going to be moved. By Genergy so that they are compatible, so that the inverter knows if it has 123 batteries, etc. This whole setup comes, so it's just stacking them, connecting the wires, and you're done. What does the installer have to wire? Well, the input from the panel, from the solar panels to this box, to this transfer box, to this transfer box, not this connection and protection box, and from this protection box. At the entrance of the inverter, see how simple we have made it, okay? In these plans you have already seen that there are some that also have the generator included. Since the generator input is also here, it is good so that the installer can connect it very, very easily. Alright, but I said that apart from using these simple modules, which is stacking them and making them grow, that I was going to tell you a way to choose. What power do you need? You have to look at your houses. Now I'll give you an enlargement, don't worry. Here is the full screen. Now I'm going to put this invoice on to read it. Look, installed power 5196, you see it there where the arrow points up there. Energy consumed 389 kilowatt. This is the average of those 596 that are installed, that is throughout the period of this invoice. There will have been times when you have consumed 4,000, other times 2,000, other times 500, but your average is that. By multiplying it by the amount that is by the price, you get the amount to pay for the period. Well, it's been 30 days that we've been seeing there. Okay, well, anyway, this is a bill. Okay. So then, we would say that to work in my house, this bill that we are seeing as this inverter has 5200 watts, it is going to give me the same thing that I have hired in the company. And now the only thing I have to know is how much storage I would place and how much I am going to spend from the sun. What energy does the sun give me in my house? You know, look. There is a free website. Now don't worry, I'll put it on full screen. It is good for you to see it and write it down so that you always have it in your memory to rehearse. It's called PVGIS. PVGIS that you are now seeing there in full screen. There you see the map. Okay, let's choose the place where we are. Let's imagine that we are in Madrid or that we are in Cuenca. In short, wherever we want. Okay, I have already pointed out a point there. Okay, and in this part on the right that you are seeing there, you can choose the autonomous PV. Okay, and then we would have chosen an autonomous plan. Performance of an autonomous system. Let's choose. We are going to enter all the data so that this page, this system is going to calculate the orientation of our panels. How many panels do we need? Because to find this power that we have seen in the invoice will depend on where you are. You're gonna need more panels, less panels. What accumulation the generator will always be necessary, because look at you, look, I draw you a graph here so that we can give you an idea. The radiation of the sun could come on, in fact it is just as I am going to draw it. 0 hours dawn begins, noon arrives, afternoon begins, and until midnight. H, let's say this balloon, this hill, this way is the graph of solar energy, of radiation. Its maximum peak is going to be here more or less, depending on the time of year, but at noon, more or less. What is your consumption line at home? How do you consume energy? Well, your energy, you will see that during the night, although you are consuming, I don't know, 100, 200 watts, very little because we are asleep. The refrigerator consumes about 7 or 8 or 90 watts on the alarm, the cell phone chargers, the television that we have left on standby. I don't know what we have connected, but the consumption is very low. But just as the sun wakes up, we also wake up. You wake up and you're going to be around here for consumption. I don't know. There will be different types of consumption at noon because you have food, you have more things, more people come to the house. At night we are watching television, I don't know what, but we immediately go back to bed. We have this type of consumption. It is understood, of course. But what does this give me? This gives me a lot of advantage. If I have sized my unit, my G energy plan, what I have consumed here and what I'm going to consume here, I'm going to save it in the batteries with this balloon. That is, what you are consuming is emitting more, which I am consuming less. You have seen that the average there on the invoice was 300 or so, but I may have placed solar panels, which are the ones that we are going to serve at 660 watts per panel for, I don't know, 10 panels, imagine. 6,600 watts. Yes, 6,600 watts of production, but you may be consuming 150 of the 80/40 V around here. Well, those 300 that we have seen, so we are saving all this in the batteries. The sizing that will help you, this PVGIS website will help you, tell you how much you have to size the panels. So their storage in batteries is appropriate to perhaps one day be unable to accumulate energy. But of course, if it is, I don't know, if it rains for a week or two, there is little sun, our panels will be bifacial and half cell. The performance you already know is very, very high. And even if the day is bad, I'm going to carry something. There will be times when even with a cloudy day, I will not be consuming as much as the panels are giving. Pay attention to what I'm telling you, but of course, if this continues over time, I will need, because in the plan, to have chosen a generator that is a sensor mule with 7,000 watts. Do you realize he's going to get in quickly? Are you going to recharge the batteries? Or a 7,500 watt Cretasol, or if I'm in a place where I have a network, I have left a minimum power, not 5,000 or so, that the invoice that we had seen was contracted here. If I'm not going to hire even a little bit less, even a rate, I'm going to tell them that I want a night rate from that company to pay as little as possible on the day my investor doesn't give me power. Why am I so sure in the event that I have a network, or in the event that I have to start the generator, that I am not going to work with the generator or the network because I have sized the panels correctly? Perfect. But not only because of that, but because the investor in the configuration already generally sends it to you like this. We told him, please feed me my house always. With solar panels, if the solar panels don't have sunlight, the next sequence is for you to take energy from the batteries, which are charged 100%, collect energy from the batteries and feed me in the house. Of course, if there is no sun and the batteries are, to say something, 90% discharged, then and only then. Turn off the generator, or if you have a network, recharge from the network. This is the ideal setup. Each particular case of radiation from the sun by the place where you are. That your house has an orientation, if possible, to the south, as it is ideal to know. How much power of energy will I be able to capture from the sun? Practice. On the page you will see that it is simple to collect and open two pages. The one of Genergy GIS with the generation plans, these all-inclusive plans that you do not have to spend more additional money. Everything included plus the PVGIS page to calculate me. What is the radiation I need if you do it right? Sucked, you are going to accept, and you can always ask us where here in Genergy. It is on this page that you are now seeing the contact section that leaves you emails and our telephone number for any questions you need to ask us. And very important, it is forbidden to stop learning.